Hey y'all, it's Tracy. I am making chicken casserole for dinner tonight, and I just thought I'd start from the beginning. I am using a whole chicken, which I stuck in my crock pot. I'm going to almost cover the chicken with water and leave it on cook all day until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. It will make its own broth and everything, and I think it's got a better flavor if you use a whole chicken. I know some people don't like chicken on the bone. You really should try it if you haven't, because it really does make a better flavor in things. But that being said, you could also, and I have before myself, use boneless chicken breast, and you can use chicken stock or like something like this. You can put chicken stock in it. This chicken will make its own stock. Sometimes I might need a little extra depending on how much I have, but you can definitely do it either way. Just a reminder, especially for people new to cooking, anytime you're cooking raw meat, you should always wash your hands thoroughly before you touch any other surface. I put this chicken in here, and I obviously make sure the surface is clean and washed everything. So that being said, we'll just put that out there in case someone didn't realize. And I'm going to put salt and pepper in this, and I'm going to, like I said, fill it almost up with water and let it cook all day. And then we will go from there. Okay, my chicken is cooked, and I ended up putting it on high for a while because I decided I'd rather have it done and let it cool down some so that I can pull it off the bone. I should have probably said that earlier. So I ended up putting it on high, and I put it on like at 7 this morning, and it is almost 2 o'clock and it's completely done. And I think you could probably see it cooking in there, and all the broth, and it made all this nice broth, which tastes better to me than the canned broth too. I got out this kind of large bowl. I'm gonna just take my 2 strainer spoons I have here, and I'm gonna scoop up my chicken because it literally is falling off of the bone. So I'm just gonna put it over here in this bowl. I'm gonna take all the pieces out. You can see that everything just fell right off the bone. And I'm going to put it in this bowl to cool off some, so I'm able to handle it to pull it off the bone. And I'm going to take this strainer in this bowl, and I'm going to strain my broth to make sure it's nice and clean and clear broth, or chicken stock, I guess really is what it made. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do it on the camera because it's kind of a messy job, and I have to turn my back to you to do it by the sink, but I'll show you when I get it done. I'll be back. Okay, I got my broth strained. Look, see how much broth it made and how rich it looks? It looks so much richer than the broth that you can get in the can, and that's the reason. It looks like it made about 6 cups of broth, and you can't beat that, and it tastes so much better. So I suggest cooking your chicken, but you don't have to. You can definitely use a boxed or canned chicken broth or stock and your chicken breast and put it right in the crock pot just like I did and cook it that way. Or you could even bake it in the oven, in like a Dutch oven, and put the broth in there. I've done that before too, when I was going to make it. I won't need all that broth for this recipe, but sometimes I will. If I'm going to make another recipe that involves chicken broth the next day or two, I'll leave it in the refrigerator. But if I'm not, I'll just put it in a freezer bag and put it in my freezer, and I'll use it the next time that I need broth for something. And it's really good to do that with also. So I'm going to let this chicken cool, and I'm going to pull it off the bone, and then we'll go on with assembling our chicken casserole. Okay, so I'm getting ready to assemble the casserole. I have sprayed a casserole dish, and I'm going to set that to the side. I took about like 2 to 2.5 cups of broth and put them in this small pan, well, medium pan, I guess. And I'm going to put a stick of margarine in there. You could use butter or margarine. And then I'm going to turn that on my stove, and I'm going to get I'm gonna heat that up until the margarine is melted. And then I'm going to put both of these boxes of stovetop stuffing in there. Okay, while I am waiting on my broth to heat up and my margarine to melt that's in this pan, I'm going to take this pan and I am going to mix up the sour cream, and this is a 16-ounce carton of sour cream, and I'm going to put 2 cans of, this is Kroger brand cream of chicken. Obviously you can use any cream soup. You could use cream of celery, cream of mushroom. I've used them both and they were fine. Pretty much any cream soup will work. I happen to have this, so that's what I'm using today. I'm gonna put 2 cans of that cream of, I mean, it kind of depends on you. You can put 1 can if you wanted. I like to put 2 cans because I like mine to be really creamy and I don't want the chicken to be dry. So I usually put 2 cans, or I've even put a family size can in before if that's what I had on hand. So I put the cream soup and the sour cream in here, and I'm going to take a little bit more of my broth and I'm just going to pour that in there to mix that up with. I would say probably, I don't know, 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of broth. I'm just going to give that a big stir, a good stir. I don't know, I think you can see this. See, it's kind of thick. I'm going to give it a little bit more broth. It doesn't need to be too thin, but I figure if it's that thick, I can probably add a little bit more broth. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this same, looks like I'm going to just take that same spoon and use right in here because it's all going to the same place. It's not going to matter. I'm going to put this in here. Looks like this is trying to come to a boil and the margarine is trying to melt here. Looks like it's almost completely melted. So I opened up my bags of stovetop. I'm just putting both of them in there. Oops. Oh goodness, I'll set those there for a minute. So then I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm just going to give that a stir until all of the stovetop is saturated with the broth and the butter mixture. You can see here it's really moist, but you want it to be really moist. You don't want it too dry, and sometimes I'll even add more broth after, you'll see after I put the top on. And if this isn't this moist, I would add more broth right now, but it seems to be okay right now. So just 1 second, I'm gonna grab my chicken. I forgot I stuck it over here. Oh goodness. So I have my chicken. This is my chicken that I pulled off the bone after I got the chicken cooked earlier. I'm gonna move this pan back over here, and I'm literally just gonna take that chicken and put it right in there. I think for the most part I have it pretty shredded. If you have some bigger pieces, you can, I usually shred those up now. If I see something that's kind of bigger, I like it to be kind of shredded. It could also be chopped. It wouldn't have to be shredded. When you take it off of, when you cook a whole chicken and take it off the bone, you can't really cut it in chunks. It's better to, for me, it's better to shred it. So that's what I did. If you do chicken breast, you could definitely cut those in chunks instead of shredding it. Depends on your personal preference. So you can see here, I have the chicken on the bottom of the pan. Whoops. My refrigerator makes a ding when it's left open. I just left it open by accident. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this and pour it on top of my chicken. I like to get it all out as much as I can. And then I'm just going to spread it out on top of there. This is one of those recipes you can't mess up really either. See, I've got it spread. Oh, I'm sorry. There goes my dogs. I'm going to stop for a second. Well, my dogs were barking. They were being so good in their crate, and all of a sudden they just took off barking. So I stopped and had them go outside till I finished this. It is so hot outside today. It is like, I don't even know what the temperature is, but it feels like 100 degrees. I had to run and go to the bank, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so bad. My husband has been working on this all day long, doing a fence job, and I don't know, I feel bad because he's out there. So at least I'm cooking him something good for dinner. So I've got a fork here, and I'm just gonna kind of just take this stovetop and kind of just put it all over the top. Now, if you're not a big fan of stovetop, like a lot of stovetop, you could use one box of stovetop. We like a lot of it, so I usually use 2, and I like to have mine completely covered up. So I just like to take this and kind of like spread it around with a fork. It seems to be easier for me to do it with a fork. I'm gonna, now my front doorbell's going off. I don't know if you heard that. I'm trying to record, but I'm not doing a very good job of keeping everything quiet. So here is, so I'm just gonna spread it around. Again, if you just wanted to use one package of stovetop, you could. I just put that all over the top there. I can kind of already tell that it's getting kind of saturated with the broth. And what I'm gonna do is I'm literally gonna take some broth and pour over the top, because what happens is as this starts baking, that just gets drier and drier and drier. So it doesn't hurt to really like saturate it with broth. So that's what I'm gonna do. You can see here, I just put like quite a bit of broth on top of there. I am going to put this in my oven, and I had my oven preheated to 350. I think it'll take 30 to 45 minutes until it's all bubbly all the way through. If I notice that my stovetop stuffing is starting to get a little bit too brown, I like it a little bit crispy on top, but if it's getting too brown, I will cover it up with aluminum foil until the rest of it catches up with it and gets all bubbly throughout the casserole, because you want it to be all nice, hot, and bubbly throughout the whole casserole. So I'll let you know how long it took to bake this dish when I get it out. Okay, I am back, and I have taken my chicken casserole out of the oven. It is really hot. I hope you can see here. It is so good. I don't know if you can see, it's steaming and it's nice and bubbly. And I did end up baking it about 40 minutes. I'm sure every oven is different. I've got my trusty Kroger brown and serve rolls ready to put in the oven. And I got my corn made over here, which I just made a video about making mashed potatoes, and I mentioned in the video of the mashed potatoes that I made some frozen corn. And just my mom's trick and my little trick, it might not be a trick for you, but we always put sugar and butter in our corn. So if you think your corn's lacking a little something, put you a little bit of sugar in it. I just literally made frozen corn and put some butter and sugar and a little bit of water in it, and just had it on low while I was cooking this other food. And I made a separate video with the mashed potatoes because I thought some people might want to know how to make the mashed potatoes. I also did end up putting some aluminum foil over top of this at the last like 15 minutes because it did look like it was getting a little brown. And then I just literally made the mashed potatoes, and they are right here in this cooker. So I hope you have a good day, and thanks for watching.